My name is Katie Moyer, and I want to share with you one tip of how to combat your biggest weakness. Sometimes people refer to this as your Achilles heel. So if you know that Greek god story about how there was this super strong warrior and nobody could defeat him, however, when he got hit in that Achilles heel, that was his weak spot and he crumbled, right? Well, we all have our own weak spots. We all have our own Achilles heel. But the best way that you can combat and become stronger than your Achilles heel is with knowledge. And I'm going to use my own personal story with this. However, please know that you can have an Achilles heel spiritually, emotionally, with your work. It could be workouts even. It could be a lot of different things. But your Achilles heel, or at least in my eyes, an Achilles heel is just something that you're struggling with. And no matter what, you can't figure it out. Like, it keeps coming up. That same situation or that same experience or that same thing. And you're like, why am I not figuring this out? Why is that my weak spot? And I tend to crumble a little bit. Well, I'm here to share my story, and hopefully that will help you defeat your Achilles heel. So I am a fitness professional, and I am generally one of those weird, crazy people who I will work out every day, even if I don't teach a class, because I innately love it. It's an intrinsic priority. I will find or create time to fit in even 25 minutes, because I know that my mental wellness, my body's wellness, all of that, I'm just a better person when I can get a workout in. So that's something I intrinsically do. However, most of the time when you're in the fitness professional world, nutrition comes up. That's exactly my Achilles heel. Now, if you've ever heard you can't outwork a bad diet, yes, that's true. And I'm not saying that because that's what, everyone else says out there. I'm saying it because I've tried to do it. I have taught 25 classes a week, and I was in the worst shape of my life. And it was because I was completely exhausted. My hormone levels, which you'll find out about, cortisol was through the roof, and I felt terrible. I was not taking care of my body mentally, physically. I was completely exhausted, overtraining, which is terrible. And at the end of it, it just left me feeling crummy for a lot of different reasons. But I tried to outwork a bad diet. You can't do it. And it's because I genuinely love to use, or I generally like to use my workouts to make me feel better about myself, and even those weren't even doing that at that point. So that's when I knew that nutrition was my Achilles heel. Now, that was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm still working on my Achilles heel. But the way that you combat your Achilles heel, mine, for instance, of nutrition, is knowledge. And I just started reading this book. It's called It Starts With Food. It's by Dallas and Melissa Hartwig. And regardless of the meal plan that's involved with this, all I can say is that I've read the first 7 chapters, and it's all about the why food is important. Like, how does your body react when you eat food? And how does your brain respond? How does your gut respond? What about your hormone levels? How are those affected? Because your body is this one big machine that regulates a whole bunch of stuff, and the food that you put into your mouth really does affect all that stuff. And I'm a firm believer in knowing the why behind things. Like, not just I should eat vegetables because I know they're good for me. Like, no, really why? Like, why? Because it affects, the blood sugar, because it, is going to give you a little bit of carbs and fiber. Like, what is it? Why? So, to combat my Achilles heel of nutrition, I read this. And in 3 days so far, like I said, I'm only in chapter 7, I've already made some changes. And I've been inspired, and more importantly, I've been actually motivated to create better food choices for me in my daily routines. That, my friends, is how you combat a challenge. You find knowledge that inspires you to do something proactive about your issue. And we all have issues out there. And I'm not saying that nutrition isn't, a little bit of everyone's, or, working out is a little bit of everyone's. But think about your daily life and think about that one thing that you feel like you keep, like, butting your head up against a wall. And you're just like, why am I struggling so much with this? Figure out something that is going to inspire you to make a proactive change. And it could be a wide range of things. But you have to use knowledge. That's why I believe in starting with why. I believe that you really do need to know the why behind things, because it really does positively reinforce the idea of why you should do these things so that you're positively motivated and inspired to do it. I mean, I have read tons of meal plans. I've followed meal plans. I've tried it all. And honestly, I needed to know the why. And I feel like in the last 3 days, I've really just been more aware of what I'm putting into my mouth than ever before. in a really good way. Now, I am in no way close to mastering this thing, and I think for me, this Achilles heel is going to be a lifelong journey. But I do feel like I've made some really good steps in the right direction. I have bought some new things, and I'm trying some new foods, and I don't know if you've ever tried kimchi, but I'm trying that. I'm trying sunflower butter, and for those of you that know me, I'm such a peanut butter fan. Like, that's almost dessert for me, is peanut butter, so you do what you do. But it's because I took the time to become educated about nutrition that I've made some positive changes. So think about your daily life. Are you struggling emotionally? Are you struggling mentally? You know, maybe you need to make a positive change to go and talk to someone professionally about where you're at. Maybe it is workouts and you need to contact a personal trainer, or maybe you need to be motivated by someone else's story. You know, think about your daily life and really what you're struggling with, and try to become educated about it. Learn the why behind how other people have solved it, or figure out the why behind, you know, why do you keep making those same mistakes over and over again? And I believe with nutrition, I kept making those mistakes because I just kept trying to do a new meal plan versus become educated about it. So when you find your biggest struggle, when you find something that you feel like is an Achilles heel for you, take the initiative. You know, I feel like, you know, you got to go to war with this thing. And nutrition, I feel like I'm at war with nutrition every day. And the only way I'm going to beat this thing and I'm going to really become, you know, the winner is by becoming educated. But I have to first learn before I can make changes. So that's my tip. And I really do hope that this inspires you to go and become educated. Whether you, I mean, information is so accessible for us right now. I mean, you just Google something and you can find some really great educated articles. Yes, you still need to filter. I'm going to always say you need to filter Google, but you know, this book was actually recommended to me by a friend, so maybe ask around. Maybe your friends have had a similar Achilles heel and they can help you out. But if this has in any way inspired you to make a positive change in your life, that's my intention with it. So I hope you go out there, you become educated, and you fight your Achilles heel. And just know that I'm with you, whether your Achilles heel is my Achilles heel or not. I'm with you, and keep on fighting the good fight.